Thank you so very much for including me in today's discussion. President Kenyatta, Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, Excellencies, colleagues, and dear friends. I want to start by first recognizing that we are very fortunate to gather on the birthday of President Kenyatta. So very many happy returns on this day. And to recognize that Kenya has stepped forward in this crisis in a way that provides more security to its people, but also lessons for others. Our discussion is centered on a critical topic for Africa, adaptation. The Global Center for Adaptation and the partners they have are right to focus on Africa's adaptation as we approach COP26. Why? Because we all know it. Climate change puts at risk Africa's substantial economic and development progress over the past decade, as the continent faces a marked increase in the frequency and intensity of natural disasters, higher temperatures, and of course, for coastal Africa, rising sea levels. This is particularly concerning at the time when the COVID pandemic has already had a severe economic impact, job losses, reduced income for so many, debt levels up, uneven access to vaccines, reduced fiscal space that threatens to hold back the recovery. And we know that for Africa, climate shocks are particularly troubling because resilience to shocks remains low. Coping mechanisms in so many places are weak. So growth, jobs, food security are threatened, especially where people depend on rain-fed agriculture. As today's report rightly says, for Africa, climate adaptation is a necessity. It is not a choice. And adapting to climate change must go hand in hand with reducing poverty, improving livelihoods, raising living standards. From our perspective, there are three priorities for action, and they are priorities that press urgency on us to act. First, we must strengthen ex-ante resilience to climate shocks. It means investing in climate-smart agriculture, resilient infrastructure, boosting food security, with better irrigation systems to reduce reliance on rainfall, better access to agricultural research and climate resilient seeds, better roads and storage combined with trade reforms that promote commerce and get products to market in good time, including across borders. This also means investing in resilient people through adequate access to vaccinations right now and in the future, through good healthcare, but also through investing in education and technology. So Africa can have accurate weather forecasts in the hands of farmers. So farmers' productivity and the quality and speed of food distribution all improve. Broader access to finance can help households invest in their own resilience efforts. Second priority, strong preparedness, strong coping mechanisms to attenuate the impact of climate events. We have seen the value of social assistance, such as cash transfers, access to finance. They act as buffer when a disaster strikes, helping people, businesses, and communities to cope. And that was very visible over the last year. We saw how cash and in-kind transfers provided households and workers essential goods, and how digital technology helped people receive money quickly. And that brings me to my third priority. We need to urgently unlock climate financing for adaptation. We at the IMF estimate that at least 2 to 3% of regional GDP, this is $30 to $50 billion, is needed each year over the next decade to accelerate adaptation efforts in sub-Saharan Africa. Countries need to do their part by mobilizing revenues, improving spending efficiency, but that is not going to be enough. They need external support to cover the bulk of the financing needs. The international community ought to deliver on its annual commitment to provide $100 billion per year in climate finance to developing countries. And within this $100 billion, we ought to prioritize for sub-Saharan Africa investment in adaptation. We also need greater financing by the private sector. The IMF, on our side, are doing our part at this critical moment in human history. We are putting climate at the heart of our work. To leverage the recently allocated $650 billion special drawing rights, we are in the process of developing a new resilience and sustainability trust to help low and vulnerable middle-income countries make important reforms, including increasing climate resilience. We have days to COP26 in Glasgow. We all know it is a historic opportunity for the world to recognize that past inaction has made adaptation a necessity. And armed with this knowledge, we must urgently move towards stopping the dangerous accumulation of CO2 emissions and avoid an even worse situation. Put simply, the more mitigation we do, the less adaptation we need. Thank you.